I've been nomading for about 9 years now, and today I want to talk about just some of my favorite places that I've been to over that 9 year period. Now, some of these places aren't really going to work for working remotely or earning remotely, but there are places that I recommend visiting. First place is this one. I don't remember how to say the name, and I'm pretty sure when I was there, I didn't remember, I never learned how to say it correctly either. I think it's Troger. However it's pronounced, is a beautiful location that makes up for the difficult pronunciation of the name. It's essentially a city built on a small little island that's in this channel in the Adriatic Sea, fairly close to split Croatia. The old town here is just gorgeous. The water all around it is super clear. The restaurants there are very affordable. A couple years ago when I was there, every little street was very walkable. It had flowers and greenery kind of going along the streets and up in the window sills. There was a bunch of Roman history there. The last time I was there was in August, I believe, a couple years ago. And honestly, I was really surprised at just the lack of tourists that were there. So it seemed underrated, but I can't imagine that being true. I just think I just happened to get lucky that day. I don't know what it was. Up next is Namche Bazaar in the Himalayas of Nepal. This place is super breathtaking, super interesting. I believe it's known as like the mountaineering capital of the Himalayas. I stayed there for 3 days back in 2018. It was a part of acclimatizing ourselves before we continued hiking up to Everest Base Camp, which if you want me to share the story on that sometime, let me know in the comments below. But this village is very interesting. There are no cars up there, not even in the city, or city, village, whatever you want to call it, but anywhere in this entire mountain region. There are no roads. There are trails that you can take donkeys up, or people will physically carry things up from and to Namche Bazaar to other parts of the mountain region. But there are no cars and no streets with, red lights or anything like that. There's also no electricity. Now, individual places will have either solar panels or generators that generate their own electricity, but there's not like a plant or something where they're bringing in electricity using electrical lines. There's none of that. And there's also no running water. In order for you to have hot water anywhere in the city, you have to have a propane flame that heats up the water. And that propane is not shipped in with a truck. It's like I said, there are no roads, no train tracks, nothing like that. It's carried up physically by porters that carry everything else up there. The only way goods come in and out of the city is through those porters, donkeys, or a helicopter, and that's very expensive, and so it's very rare. The city is very quiet. If you go outside or open your window, the only thing you really hear are cowbells or people kind of talking in the distance. Just a beautiful, beautiful place that overlooks a big valley with a big mountain in front of it, and then just snow-capped mountains all around it. It's a very, very gorgeous place. Next up is Marrakesh, Morocco. Now, I know this place is a bit more well-known than the past places that I just mentioned, but it's still just a very unique city. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm honestly thinking I need to go back. It's just such a beautiful location. There are essentially two parts of the city. There's the old town, I believe it's called the Medina, and then there's the newer town or new city. The new city is sort of self-explanatory. It's fairly walkable, fairly clean, pretty modern. There's a really nice co-working place there. There's a nice mall there, some nice cafes, nice restaurants. But the Marrakesh I'm more talking about is the Medina and the Old Town. The Medina is what they call this Old Town part of Marrakesh. It's very confusing to walk through. Google Maps really doesn't work. There's really no mapping system that works through it because it's just so crowded. Some of the streets are, as wide as your shoulders. Most of it is small little shops and stalls, those types of things, but you can't see anything out of it other than straight up, and that's only sometimes if it's not covered. There's a really nice palace that's in there. One of the very interesting and beautiful things about Marrakesh is they have these old palaces. They call them riads. They're basically a 2 or 3-story building with a courtyard in the middle. Sometimes it will be a fountain. Sometimes it will be a pool. Sometimes it's just an area for them to relax in. Sometimes it's a garden. Sometimes there are fruit trees growing in the middle, like orange trees. And the reason why they have them designed like this, and I don't remember exactly how it works, but in the hot summer heat, the pool or the fountain in the middle sort of cools off the area, and it would provide a place for the family and other locals to go to and cool off and stay in the shade. But the architecture of these is just incredible. The Moroccan architecture is just gorgeous. If you were in Spain or Portugal, it's only, I think, 45-minute flight or something to Marrakesh. Can't wait to go back, honestly. The next place I want to mention is Alisha National Forest. I'm probably also butchering the name again, but this forest is high up in mountains in southern Taiwan. They have entire forests of bamboo trees. They have massive, just rolling hills of tea farms. Bubble tea was invented in that region. To get down there, you take a bullet train we took it from Taipei, and then you take like I want to say it's like 3 or 4, maybe 5 hour bus ride up into the mountains. The whole region is just very much focused on tea. So it's like the capital of oolong tea. I believe they also had matcha tea there as well. And then they had some coffee plantations. The higher you got up in elevation, the greener things got. The forests there were just covered in moss. There were, like I said, bamboo trees everywhere, tea farms everywhere. It's just a very unique experience. Some of the trees there were sort of redwood-like, meaning they were like 100 meters or so up in the air. Just multi-layered canopies of trees. There were monkeys there as well. Once you're up in the forest, there's a old logging train. I think you can take all the way down to the valley instead of taking the bus. It just takes longer. But this old train is still serviced for, I think, mostly for tourism, but you can take that even further up into the mountains and stop off at different points. And when I say tourism, there are very few Westerners there. I think the only people that were there that were tourists were maybe from Korea or China. It was just a very unique place to visit, especially from someone who spent most of their life in the West. So those are some of my favorite places out of the last 9 years that I've traveled as a nomad. If you want to see more of my favorite places that I've been to, the list is a lot longer, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to follow me. I'm on my 9th year of digital nomading while I buy and build businesses, the fun of my lifestyle.